So the first experiment in the molecular biology paper is estimation of DNA by diphenylamine method. So what exactly is the aim of this practical session is to estimate the amount of DNA given in the unknown sample. Means you will be given a sample with certain concentration of DNA. After doing the experiment, you need to come up with the results of how much is the concentration of DNA present in the given sample. So let me start with the principle. So the principle is very simple. So whenever you have the DNA especially under acidic conditions, so it is going to get converted into an aldehyde compound, that is beta hydroxyllevulinaldehyde. So under acidic conditions, DNA will get converted to an aldehyde compound. So this aldehyde, it immediately gets condenses with the reagent, that is diphenylamine, and it will turn into a blue colored complex. So here I said that DNA under acidic conditions will become beta levulinic acid. This is because we are providing acidic conditions when you add the reagent to the DNA sample. When you prepare the reagent, that is diphenylamine reagent, you are going to use glacial acetic acid and also sulfuric acid, which will create this acidic conditions leading to the production of this aldehyde. This aldehyde then condenses with DPA, that is diphenylamine, the active compound in the reagent, and this gets converted into a blue colored complex. Now you should have a question, why you should get a blue colored complex? Why can't we estimate the DNA directly? So DNA is a colorless compound, it's a colorless material, and when you are going for spectrophotometric estimation, only colored compounds can be estimated when you go for colorimetric estimations. We all know that. That's why, so as to estimate it by using a colorimeter, we are trying to convert the DNA into a blue colored complex. So this is the basic principle behind the experiment. Then moving on, how exactly this DNA becomes into an aldehyde compound is that you know that in the structure of DNA you will have the deoxyribose sugar, and this deoxyribose sugar will be sometimes attached to purines, and some of the deoxyribose sugars will be attached to the pyrimidines. Especially the deoxyribose sugar that is attached to purines will be the important compound, or will be the important portion of DNA that reacts under acidic conditions to give you an aldehyde compound. Yes, let's move to the experimental portion. This is the principal portion. Now we shall move to the experimental portion. In the experimental portion, you need to first prepare the reagent, that is diphenylamine is the reagent. Preparation of this diphenylamine reagent will be done by using both glacial acetic acid and also sulfuric acid. So you need to be very careful while using the reagent or while preparing the reagent. The second important solution that you need to prepare is stock DNA, stock standard DNA. The concentration of stock standard DNA will be 1 mg per 1 ml, which means 1 mg of DNA will be present in every 1 ml of solution of the stock standard DNA. So I can write 1 mg as 1000 μg. 1000 micrograms present in 1 ml. I have just converted it. Don't get confused. 1 mg can be written as 1000 μg. So now 1000 μg is present in each and every ml of the stock standard DNA solution given to you. If 1000 mg is present in 1 ml, if you are picking 0.1 ml of solution, it should contain 100 micrograms of the DNA. You should be very careful while doing the small calculation. From this 1 ml, each ml contains 1000 micrograms now. When you pick 0.1 ml, that 0.1 ml of solution, whatever you are picking, will have 100 micrograms. Similarly, if you are picking 0.2 ml, it contains 200 μg. If you are picking 0.3 ml, it contains 300 μg. Then, moving to the experimental portion, how you should conduct the experiment or how you should estimate is, you need to take different concentrations or different volumes of standard DNA. So you should take something like this, 0.2 ml of stock DNA in one test tube, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8 and 1.0. Then you will have your test or the unknown solution of DNA given to you. So coming to the distilled water, you need to make it up to 1 ml. So if you are taking 0.2 ml of standard DNA, make it up to 1 ml with distilled water, which means you are going to add 0.8, 0.6, 0.4, 0.2, 0.0 ml of distilled water, so that the volume is made to 1 ml. Now concentration of the DNA in each test tube. So in this test tube, the standard stock DNA is 0.2 ml and you have 0.8 ml of water. You need to understand that distilled water does not contain any amount of DNA. Whatever the DNA that is present in this particular test tube is contributed only by your stock standard DNA solution which you have taken. Here you took 0.2 ml of standard DNA, means here you have calculated that 0.2 ml of standard DNA will contain 200 micrograms of your DNA. So here the concentration is 200 μg per ml, because in this test tube now you have 1 ml of solution in which 200 μg of DNA is present. Similarly, if you keep on calculating for all this, you will have 400 μg per ml, 600 μg per ml, so on. Here it is 1000 μg per ml. But coming to the test solution or unknown solution, so you have to find out the amount of DNA present in this given sample. Means here you don't know the concentration, so you are just putting a blank here. Then after taking these test tubes, you need to add 4 ml of diphenylamine reagent in each of the test tubes and allow each of the test tubes for about 10 minutes of incubation, and during incubation you have to heat the test tubes. Remember, while heating the test tubes, you need to cover the top of the test tubes by using a foil or a glass marble. This is because I told you already you have acid present in the diphenylamine reagent which can get evaporated, or some volume can get escaped off in the form of fumes. So you have to cover it while you heat it for 10 minutes in boiling water bath. So after this boiling water bath step, what you need to do is you need to allow all the tubes to cool down for some time. Maybe 15 to 20 minutes it will take for all the tubes to come to room temperature. Then you are going to take the absorbance using a colorimeter at 595 nanometer. You have to set your colorimeter to 595 nanometer and you have to take the absorbance. I missed you tell something to you that you haven't put a blank here. You need a blank to take the absorbance. Blank does not contain any amount of standard DNA. It don't contain standard DNA, but it will contain only 1 ml of water, and it will have 4 ml of BPA, and the same heating is done with the blank also. And by putting the blank at 0, you are going to take the absorbance of all these tubes along with the unknown solution. I think it is clear. Why you need to take the absorbance at 595 nanometer? Why not at 260 nanometer? Why not at 300 nanometer? This is because this 595 nanometer is the absorption maxima for this blue colored complex. Now you are going to, by taking the absorbance, you are going to estimate the amount of the blue colored complex formed. So 595 nanometer is the absorption maxima for blue colored complex, because more is the intensity of the blue colored complex, it means more is the amount of DNA present. Less is its intensity, less is the amount of DNA. I think you understood this logic. If you have higher amount of DNA, more number of ribose sugars are going to form the aldehyde compound, and the intensity of blue color will be more, and vice versa. Yes. After taking these readings, what you are going to do? You are going to plot a graph. How a graph has to be plotted? You have to take the concentrations on the x-axis. Say this is 200, 400, 600, 800 on the x-axis, and the OD values on the y-axis, and you need to get a straight line like this. What do you do with this straight line? So you need to find out the amount of DNA present in the unknown sample. Say for suppose if the OD value is 0.5 for your unknown sample, then you have to draw a line like this, and you will find out the amount of the concentration of DNA present in the given unknown sample. This you will understand better when you really plot the graph.